Good evening. Welcome in Delhi UPSC editorial audio program. परिवार patterns times of India. अयोध्या पूरी वाराणसी template. India's foundation battle at the Hindu question. Now the full editorial. Parivar patterns, the times of India, political families and biz families share a key trait, managing risk by putting family members in different ops. In India, political is personal, shared into political is family. A lot of family members as political rivals from opposing camps are not uncommon. The Scindia exists. NCP is split. Raj Thakre's MNS SPs Shivpal march to BJP. The list is endless. Cis bro contest. Even so, the appointment of a CM's sister to head an opposition party's state unit has a masala twist all its own. Andhra CM YS Jagan Reddy's sister YS Sarmila is now Congress state unit chief. Andhra's assembly election is held simultaneously with Lok Sabha's Karnataka and Telangana is its kitty. Congress is clearly bullish here. Real successor who? Congress hopes Sarmila might revive party's fortunes basis popular legacy of her late father ex-Congress CM YS Rajsekhar Reddy in undivided Andhra. Jagan YSR's son valued into CM position after exiting Congress claiming this very legacy. As in family business succession can be a risky game. The only difference being politicians are themselves the business. Sharmila is widely credited with her brother's meteoric rise. This year, then we'll see brother sister fight over this legacy. Turf matters. Family feud aside, most political families in India are often ranged against each other from opposing parties in electoral contest. Even in December's assembly polls, several contests had had uncle against nieces, Nagpur Chetri spouse fighting spouse, Danta Ramgarh, so on and so forth. The end game is that the constituency or home turf stays with the family and a foothold in state machinery keeps political family wheels well oiled. Sound businesses. This is sound business practices. Spreading risk and diversify portfolio is the trick to survival. Conglomerate families do it all the time, putting children in different businesses, sending at least one son, daughters, not so much abroad. Business and politics both face uncertainty. Little wonder careers of children in both kind of families are demonstrations of risk management. Ayodhya Puri Varanasi template. All three religious projects aim to deliver a transformed experience to visitors. They also involve massive public expenditure aimed at building big. Gautam Bhatia, the writer, is an architect. The opening of the first phase of the rupees 1,800 crore Ram Mandir in Ayodhya happens next week. According to UP CM Yogi Adityanath, this inauguration of temple is meant to establish Ram Raj in the country. The architectural aesthetics of the structure are certainly impressive. Ram temple to live 1000 years. A shikhar A shikhar 16-story high supported on 392 sandstone pillars, each uh, intricately hand cut and rising above a granite plinth on modern concrete foundation in Nagara style design on a 67-acre site. Every detail of the building follows the precise norm of traditional constructions. Its stone journey of copper pins and tongue and groove joints is so secure and rust proof. The structure's life is expected to be over 1,000 years. City to be transformed too, but this a partial opening of the most venerated temple is only a prelude to the major overhaul of the holy city expected over the next decade. with more than 200 development projects already in progress. Gone with the days when a visit to the temple and the ghats is through dirt eggs encrust, encrusted narrow bazaar lanes on the Tonga. A new 13-kilometer corridor Rampath will soon clear out the messy bazaar area, removing over 8, 800 structures in a meticulous urban surgery. Connectivity overhauled. Recently inaugurated by PM Modi, the all-new Ayodhya Airport Facade 2 has been especially designed for the sacred city with a stone veneer topped by temple Sikhs, if only to remind future air passengers that they are entering an ancient place with all modern convenience, a new railway station with rapid rail connections to major cities, state-of-the-art museum, hotels, transport service, and housing. Puri temple area brought up to 2024 as if on cue yesterday. Jagannath Heritage Corridor is Puri was also inaugurated by Odisha CM Naveen Patnaik. Transformation of the iconic temple site with the addition of a 75-meter wide surrounding approach. Sri Mandir Parikrama is intended to free up the temple area of all unnecessary structures to improve facilities for visitors and pilgrims. These include queue management, toilet facilities, shade and rest pavilions, information and donation kiosk, shuttle services, souvenir shops, and integrated security control centers. Varanasi corridor restored. Revitalization of Ayodhya city comes after similar work successfully completed 2 years earlier in Varanasi. Kashi Vishwanath corridor was a Herculean effort to restore a fabled connection between the temple complex and Ganga, even when it meant acquiring over 300 properties, demolishing some of rehabilitating others. Along the route, 40 temples hidden within the concrete undergrowth of the squalid old old town were discovered and restored. Other than the Gyanvapi Mosque controversy, the opening up a wide vista of the river is was met with little resistance. Thus, Ayodhya, Puri, Varanasi are three extensive religious projects that are more than mere buildings. They involve large-scale urban upheaval and a massive public expenditure. Three cities in service of Hinduism. Religion in public life. There are only two ways of treating religion in public life. One is to promote it the way we do. The other is to suppress it, as in US. Federal fund or state support is provided in America for construction of churches, temples, and synagogues. No teaching of religion is allowed in public school curriculum. Religious possessions are not encouraged on public streets. Or the propagation of religious messages through public channels. Religion is a private matter. Constitution and inclusion. In India, our constitution clearly states that our secular country has no official religion but in the birthplace of three important religions and home to many more. Any public acknowledgement of course makes sense only when all religions get equal billing. Obviously, the overwhelming majority of Hindus, numbering 80% of the population, will get priority over 40%, 14% Muslims, 2.3% Christians, and barely 1% Buddhists. Even though the civic upgrade of the three cities is much needed, more population representation should not be the criteria for religious architectural expansion. If anything, a more conciliatory conciliatory and inclusive attitude needs to be encouraged. Ancient preserved Jerusalem, Mecca, Vietnam, Golden Temple, Bodh Gaya. So much of the history of these places relies on an implicit reading. Stones and ruined walls left as they were in a sort of successive syntax. A time so far back in history and archaeology that no valuable physical resurrection can be easily made method mythical modernized. Ironically, Ayodhya's imaginary through mythical has now been restored in an imagined 21st century framework with all the modern gadgetry that today's architecture deploys. A traditional temple surrounded by airports, fast trains, hotels, and highways would a less magnified version of the place be truer to the ancient narrative. Could we have gone the less is more route and produced something equally, if not more remarkable Hindu religious experience? Who knows when 80,000 crore is to be spent over the next decade on Ayodhya, there has to be something to show for it. India's foundational battle on the Hindu question, the Hindu. Even though there is no silver bullet to counter the potent mixture of Hindutva, politicized Hinduism, and Rashtravad nationalism today, progressive can help reclaim the hearts and minds of Indians. Pushpendra Deshpande is the editor of the Great Indian Manthan Statecraft and the Republic, and the director of the Samruddha Bharat Foundation. A voter of Rajasthan recently said, लाभ लाभ तो बहुत मिला है कांग्रेस सरकार से, लेकिन हिंदू की तरह ही वोट लेकिन हिंदू की तरह ही वोट करूंगा. I have benefited a lot from Congress government's scheme, but I'll vote like a Hindu. A superfluous reading of this statement is that the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and Bharatiya Janata Party have successfully captured India's Hindu vote before the proposition is objectively dissected. We must concede that the RSS BJP have shifted the nation's political center so comprehensively that many feel compelled to operate on their terms on or in juxtaposition to them. This is why many privately practicing Hindus are now performing in their religiosity, make metaphysical distinctions between Hinduism and Hindutva, and are reduced to props to the RSS BJP's politicization of religion, as in the Ram Mandir's inauguration. But the citizens citizens innocuous statement is raised four fundamental questions that progressive forces are skating around. For first, does India's silent majority see itself as primarily Hindu, or of obfuscating all other socio-economic and political identities? Second, does this identification determine political alignments? Third, do Hindus see their socio-political, economic, and religious interest as contradictory to all other religious community? And finally, how can progressive parties win the Hindu vote if it exists without restoring to performative religiosity? India's National Pulse on a scientific survey can demonstrate whether Indians think and vote exclusively as Hindus, but going by the Lokniti surveys, it is a combination of other factors, including a plethora of developmental issues, the absence of countervailing mass organizations, and an anti-establishment amongst, and the lack of an inspiring alternative vision which is determining voting patterns. However, it is undeniable that Hinduism genuinely influences the daily interactions and normative worldview of many Indians. However, the moral compass of the silent majority still overwhelmingly leans towards India's Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb and Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Mahatma Gandhi's distinction between communalism, The othering of communities for political ideological ends and the religion as a way of life is a helpful yardstick to understand this further. Gandhi consciously positioned himself within India's socio-cultural mainstream. Drawing off that mainstream's norms, he ensured that the Congress movement is scrupulously followed सर्वधर्म संभाव equal respect for all religion ahimsa non-violence aparigraha non-possessiveness a such control of diet including uh, abstinence from alcohol and satya truth. Consequently, the Congress exemplified morality, public service, and tapasya, self-control, and sacrifice in popular consciousness. This societal embedding allowed for mass association. Thus, Indians from any caste, creed, gender, ideology, and religion could be in the Congress provided they scrupulously adhere to Maitreyi fraternity and identified with the nation. This balance between ideological sharpness and sup- uh, suppleness made the Congress party hegemonic. But if the Congress was solidly aligned with India's national pulse, why is BJP a beneficiary of the Hindu vote today? This is partly because of the political status post Babri Masjid. While stridently defending secularism, progressive parties abdicated the responsibility of programming programmatically countering communism to civil society. Unfortunately, civil society does not have a uniform pan-India presence. The financial withdrawal of the state's instruments to pose a comprehensive ideological counter. Meanwhile, the RSS BJP silently indoctrinated society by appropriating Dalit other backward classes, Adivasi icons, and through religio-cultural programs, educational institutions, and popular culture. Essentially, the Sangh Parivar tactically aligned itself with the mainstream to inject its ideology onto and into society. It is to coincidence that the Sangh exclusively leverages, even weaponizes Vaishnavite norm or iconography as opposed to Saivite norms which make insurmountable demand including sannyas or renunciation. The BJP undoubtedly complements this by staking the electoral field, employing vast resource and deploying the state machinery, but it is the socially integrated Sangh that it leans on the most, recapturing the mainstream to reclaim the hearts and minds of our people. Be progressive, be progressivize must interrogate our class and moral privileges. We must continue proffering economic, developmental, welfare, linguistic, and federal prescriptions. They will work, especially if we make concerted efforts to emphasize the commonality of interest between all communities. But that can only happen if we also recapture the national pulse without resorting to the symbolic or performative. This is the ultimate project of the national integration because society structurally resist change. Enlightened leadership has patiently inspired it to transform. But for an effective recalibration, the leadership must first be socially accepted as moral arbitrators. This is crucial because while the state has struggled to actualize India's constitutional social revolution for the past 70 years, the only way it will succeed is if that resolution is seeded from below. As Dr. Ambedkar said, social conscience is the only safeguard of all rights, fundamental or non-fundamental. Therefore, progressive parties must reintegrate themselves at the most granular level. Creativity, leveraging the mainstream's form. For example, the Congress Party still has a presence in nearly every village across India. It can thus revitalize its village and mandal units, which were originally rooted in socio cultural lives. Unlike booth and block units, which are essentially electoral and patronage units, these institutionalized socio-identical ideological systems can work with subcaste, Dalits, other backward classes, and Adivasis with popular culture, um, with local religious, spiritual organizations, and organized community activities. Progressive also have the rare opportunity to mold the Hindu vote at the macro level. Ironically, it is the BJP which has provided its opening in reducing Hinduism to an object of electoral and commercial utility. The BJP has aligned key religious stakeholders, including all four Shankaracharyas, akhadas, mutts, ashrams, and the religious trust, who are legitimately legitimately di- dilutioned by a disregard for Hinduism sanctities. Additionally, some feel threatened by the BJP's effort to appropriate their temporal, functional, and financial powers, which they fear is a subversive endeavor to restructure Hinduism irrevocably. Further, the BJP is estranging India's salient majority, which sees through its divisive instrumentalities. It is to circumvent this disengagement that the BJP is frantically manufacturing fresh controversies in Mathura Kasi and raking up Akhand Bharat. Progressiveness should ideally leverage this crisis to re-engage religious spiritual trust and induce them to implement structural reforms within Hinduism by shedding ata- atavistic dogmas and thus permanently eschew casteism, patriarchy, communalism, and illiberty. This becomes especially imperative because the Supreme Court of India's verdict on the Babri Masjid bar clearly not halted the weaponization of religion or attacks on other religions, formally frontally tackling the Sang's cultural nationalism could also prove to be a golden opportunity for cultivating a constitutional consciousness. After all, Mahatma Phule, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, before he converted Mahatma Gandhi and Raja Ram Mohan Rai also engaged, challenged and changed Hinduism. In furthering the national interest shouldn't we foster a sense of Indianness, even though there is no silver bullet to counter the potent mixture of Hindutva, politicized Hinduism and Rashtravad nationalism today. Progressives can reclaim popular support by fostering a sense of Indianness. We need to reassert what is means to be Indian and demonstrate common bonds of kingship. This cannot happen through a pan-India Hawa narrative, which is resource intensive and puts the onus of psychological association of the disinterested. Therefore, progressives must embedded themselves in the nation's socio-cultural mainstream and build an ideological superstructure that works top down and bottom up. This normative work requires a high degree of self insultation from the immediate and necessary dynamic entrepreneurship and hence boldly disruptive programs. It is likely that this could be capri, capri, caricatured as soft peddling Hindutva or moral defeatism. It is not. It is this is a bugle to steel ourselves for the more fundamental battle which can stem the weaponization of Hinduism and enable the reclamation of India's soul. Any further hesitation will cause irrevocable damage to India's civilization and constitutional ethos. Thank you.